Hello, chemistry crew. It's Kara Lenorovitz, and welcome to our 12th week of segment 2. We're going to jump right in here. In terms of housekeeping, there are a few new things that I just want to make sure we touch base on. One is that because of April break, we will have a short gap in our synchronous meeting times. You won't have one this week, and you won't have one the following week, and that's due to April break. We will resume our normal synchronous class meeting times on April 29th. So look forward to seeing you all back together then. In terms of office hours as well, because of April break, they will occur this week. So this Tuesday, April 13th from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. and this Wednesday, April 14th from 1 to 3 p.m. You will have availability to meet with me if you have questions or want to go over any content or check in for any reason. The following week, however, I will be on April break and I will be unavailable. So make sure that if you're interested in connecting that you reach out during this week and I'm happy to help. The other things up here are upcoming pieces. We are very, very close to the end of the entire year. We are wrapping up Module 7 this week and starting Module 8. So you really have one module left to go. So definitely hang in there. As we've been discussing for the past couple of weeks, I've started to replace missing work that's more than 2 weeks old with zeros. Again, that's to help you get a better understanding of exactly where you are status-wise for your grade in class. Remember, though, that those zeros are pieces that you don't want to just let go by. You actually can go back and you can turn in that work, and I will happily assess it and replace that zero with a score that you've earned for the demonstration of understanding that you show in those pieces. So make sure you tend to those if you're starting to see some of those zeros in there. April break can be a great time to get caught up if you're a little bit behind. And then again, April break, as I mentioned, mine will be happening from April 17th to April 25th. So the weekly learning plan that we're talking about now, you will have up until April 26th to finish it. So let's just take a look at this in a little different format here. The first week that's listed here is the last week that we were together. So you'll see weekly learning plan 10 and 11. You should be turning in weekly learning plan 11 on Monday the 12th as scheduled. And this new weekly learning plan is posted and available for you as well. This week that's highlighted in yellow, I will be available by email and I will be available during office hours. So please do feel free to reach out. But remember, we won't have a synchronous session. The following week that's highlighted in blue here, I will not be available. I will also be on vacation. So no synchronous session, no office hours, and only very infrequently on email. The week of the 25th, however, we will all be back in regular schedule mode. So you'll get a new weekly learning plan on Monday the 26th. You'll be turning in your work from this weekly learning plan that same day, and then we will all get together and see each other on Thursday, April 29th. All right, let's take a look at the learning for this week. You actually are not going to be adding in any real new content other than an exploration of some content in our next unit. So you should be at this point wrapping up your segment 2 collaboration project. So in part 1, you chose one of 6 different areas of chemistry to explore. You did a little bit of background research, you figured out a personal connection to that particular area, and you posted something in our discussion board. In part 2, you read through several other classmates' presentations and posts, and you then crafted a comment back to them. And in part 3, you thought about what you learned in part 1 and in part 2, and you're doing a bit of reflection. At this point, you should be ready to turn in one document that has all 3 of those parts. So your part 1 post that you created, your part 2 response that you crafted back to somebody else, and then your part 3 reflection questions. So make sure you're turning that in. That is actually due April 19th, so make sure you've got those pieces all set to go. The second thing that you're working on is your 7.08 asynchronous discussion-based assessment. Because of April break, we're not going to have the opportunity to come together in small groups for conversations as we typically do. However, you are going to be reviewing and preparing for the DBA discussion questions as you normally would. So you're going to be writing out your responses, whether that's by hand neatly so that you can then digitally upload them or digitally from the start. You are then going to select one of those questions and you're going to create a 1 to 2 minute webcast, screencast of you explaining your answer. So we'll take a peek at that in just a moment, but that's the reason the video is there. And then you have a couple of short reflection questions. So you're going to be turning in all three of those things: your content questions, your 1 to 2 minute video of you explaining the answer to one of those content questions, and then your reflection questions. The last piece that's here, your third job of the week, is to get yourself prepped and thinking about our last module of the year, which is Module 8 on solutions. You're going to start out by taking a pretest, much as you have for previous units. Again, this is to get a sense of what you may already know about the topic as we come into it. It's assessed solely based on your effort, so give that a try. Let's look at the weekly learning plan. All right, same familiar structure here. You're going to see an introduction at the beginning, the overview of the learning objectives. There really aren't any new content pieces that are here. Communication reminders, pacing reminder, and then your to-do list. Again, 3 jobs here. You're going to see them in order in which they are due. You can certainly do them in adjusted order that makes sense for you. So the first thing listed is your Segment 2 collaboration project. Make sure you've got all 3 of those pieces done and that you're submitting them in one document. This next piece there is your Module 8 DBA. You'll notice there's a link there to learn more about your DBA. We're actually going to jump there right now. Just as we have for all of our other DBAs, there is a DBA document. It will be linked on the home page. It's also linked in the modules section, so you can get there lots of different ways. You'll see the overview of what we do in general with DBAs, the schedule for this one, which is a little different because it's asynchronous, and then what to expect. So you'll see bulleted out there the 3 aspects of what you need. And then there's how to approach. Step by step, you're going to start by answering the content-based questions. So you can see there's a content-based question for 7.01, 02, 05, 06, and 07. Make sure you are documenting your work and thinking for each one of those questions. Again, it's fine if it's hard copy or if it's electronic. For any of the problems that do involve calculations, make sure you're showing all your work, all your thinking, and all your units. Step 2, you're going to select one of those questions from part 1 as the focus for your video. You're going to want to upload your work or create it digitally so that it's something that can show on your computer screen. You want it essentially to be the foreground of your screencast. There are lots of different ways you can do this. It could be a digital image that's high quality, so make sure it's easily legible. You could do it in Google Slides as your backdrop, or you could choose something else. I encourage you to write an outline of what you're going to say. It's going to allow you to be a little more efficient as you're explaining things. 1 to 2 minutes is sometimes a long time, and sometimes it's going to seem brief. So I encourage you to write your ideas out. And then you're going to select and practice with a screencasting app. You can certainly use one that you've used before. I've given you some suggestions here of ones that I've used that also are pretty user-friendly. So Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, WeVideo all work. You can also use Google Meet or Zoom to do a screencast as well. You're going to save your video, making sure that you've set the permissions so that anyone with your link, particularly me, will be able to see your video. I do want to remind you, I will be the only audience for your video. I won't be sharing your link with anybody else, but do make sure that if I have that link, I'm going to be able to watch your video. And then some reminders of what you need to include in that final video. It should include the original question. It should include your image and voice, so I want to be able to see and hear you. You should be showing and explaining your answer to the question. Again, making sure you're showing and including any work or units or visuals. But be supported by appropriate visuals. In some cases, you might have images that are going to help you tell your story. And it needs to be a unique production by you and 1 to 2 minutes in length. That may mean you need to record it more than once until you've got that timing down. You're going to copy that video link. You're going to answer the reflection questions. They will look familiar from previous DBAs. And then you're going to turn in those 3 items. Your work for all of the content questions, your screencast video explanation of one of the questions, and then your reflection questions. As usual, the learning objectives for each part of the module are listed here as well. All right, and the third thing is going to be the solutions pretest. Again, this is a preview of the content that you're going to explore during Module 8, and reminders there about when we will next have class. All right, so 3 jobs in slightly different order here. You can choose the order in which you do them. First one listed here is your asynchronous DBA for Module 7. We just went over all the details on that. The second one listed here is your collaboration project. Make sure you have parts 1, 2, and 3 done all in one document turned in. Just a reminder that the collaboration project is due sooner than April 26th, so that'll be due on the 19th. and then your solutions pretest. So those 3 jobs. You also have the job of making sure you take your April vacation, so do give yourself some downtime. And please do reach out for help if you need it. I will again be available via email and office hours during the week of April 12th, but I will be unavailable from April 17th to April 25th. I'll look forward to seeing all of you on the other side, well rested and ready for the very last stretch of the school year. Have a great week.